Will Robinson. Danger. Danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we please make it a rule that spooks can't join public office? Please, somebody.
For an Army Ranger.
Would you even know?
Conflict of interest. All of this is conflict of interest. This is like the politicians that are regulating pharma, getting out and going to join big pharma with
big pharma, yeah,
8-figure salaries.
Right.
This revolving door crap has to stop, and that goes for these intelligence guys too. They pop out and they go into the private sector, and wouldn't you know it, you've got guys like Wolf Blitzer. Yeah, disavow, allegedly, all the stuff I gotta say. All of a sudden, they're in the private sector lobbying for more war stuff for us to spend our money on. Our money. You and I.
Well, yeah, our money. It's really weird, though, because none of these people, I really, except for Kelly, I mean, I don't know any of these people, so. Go ahead.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Well, you're right, at least on that last part there. They've been pitting the intelligence community against our own people for, oh, God, before I was born.
When did the CIA begin?
Yeah. When did the Dulles brothers do the deed done dirt cheap, and then OSS turned into the CIA and got all these other administrative agencies out of it? Before you were born, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
How's that going?
Yeah. And I would look at their record and go, you might want to rethink that.
Not the greatest track record. This is like the Strong Cities Network saying that terrorism has increased by 500% since the Strong Cities Network set up their CVE program, countering violent extremism. I mean, to me, that sounds like mission failed.
Yeah. Well,
and if we measure every administration's trampling of the Constitution just within the last 20 years, they all get an F minus.
They all get a really bad score. So,
but now all of a sudden, they put out this ad.
Well, but see, that's the problem. Is the rhetoric has gotten worse on both sides. Everybody's an enemy to the state.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like something you've heard before? I don't get how they're able to justify the words that they say to one another. They're basically calling each other traitors to their face, and that word has come out multiple times recently. Are we going forward or are we going backward? I don't understand the progress. And they're supposed to be the Progressive Party. This doesn't make sense.
Let me start this over so we can get one clean pass, because this is only a minute long.
Yeah, well, it's a minute and a half, I think, but yeah.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy. Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army, our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Okay. My question to them is, when you take the oath and you say you're going to defend the Constitution against foreign and domestic threats, does that not constitute a law saying you must follow the supreme leader's orders? Is that not part of military justice?
I will obey the orders of my whatever, I forget, and those appointed over me, and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. I forget
So
how.
they're saying, yeah, I can't remember all of it, but what I'm questioning is they're saying you can refuse illegal orders. Under what statute does that fall?
Oh man, I used to know the UCMJ bit there, but yeah, I mean, what they're saying is technically true, and this is the talk that you get at least once in your military career. You probably remember
Heard
getting
it.
this.
I've heard it.
They-
But what I don't understand, what are they calling illegal orders? Are we talking about ICE taking people out? That's not illegal. They're following the letter of the law, as far as I know.
That's what this is about. The Trump administration has failed to deliver on the deportations that they had promised, and people are getting pissed. We've got this H-1B problem on top of it, and they're just making it.
That's
and then-
become a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. The H-1B is a whole nother topic. We're allowing the golden ticket. Basically, you have enough money, we'll allow you to come in. But if
No,
you
that's
don't,
gone away too. That's
Oh,
gone
really?
away too.
Good. Well, it's again, you're taking foreigners over Americans to put them into jobs, and I don't understand that. But
Besides, even if they go through with that, okay, they have to pay a certain amount of money to get their people over here. Okay, where does that money go? What does that do for me or you? The job
It
is still
doesn't.
gone.
yeah,
So
It's
what?
not gonna do
Uncle
anything to
Sam
us.
gets another payout, and
Yeah.
and we get what? Jobs lost? That's nothing. They were talking. What was it? 100,000, I think, was the upper end of that
right.
deal, and it was never going to be 100K per head. That there's probably some loophole for that too. This is
Yeah.
why these companies being able to set their academics, experience ratio, they've been abusing this system demonstrably. They've been abusing it, and now we're talking. You had oh man, where is that? This all kind of folds together. Let me see if I can find that. They're really, all this stuff is woven together.
Yeah,
Trump
no, we've talked about there are a lot of these threads that are woven together. They're so tightly knit, it's hard to actually realize that they're separate topics, but they really are, but they all link together. Go ahead, sorry.
Understand that This administration is failing to deliver on its stated goals. And you have a growing proportion of the United States, MAGA guys and lefties. The leftists were already pissed off, but not
Yeah.
all of them are as hardcore, whatever, as you might see on the internet or TV.
Right.
Most people are just kind of center, either center left, center right. It might have been willing to give the administration a go in one direction or another. RFK Jr. was a good example of kind of crossing over into the medical issues. What have they achieved? Oh, we got red dye number 3 banned or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. We started to get some transparency over I can't even talk about it because I don't even know if it's safe to talk about now. The thing that happened in 2020. No one's gone to jail. No one's been sued. I don't see Merck, Pfizer, Moderna, Sophie, GSK. I don't see any of these companies getting their nuts roasted, metaphorically speaking, legally speaking. Where are the promises delivered? Record high economy? Record high profits? For whom? Not for us.
Not for us.
They say the prices in the grocery store have gone down. For whom? Not me. Not
me.
you.
Absolutely not.
I bought a pound and a half of chicken the other day. Do you know how much it was? $9.
$8. Yeah.
No one's buying this crap anymore, and it's culminating, and we're about to roll into the election cycle for midterms.
Oh yeah.
What's
And
this
they're
administration going to be capable of doing when they hit desperation mode? And I think that's what's happening right now. I really do.
Well, do you think the video was made to gin up more on their side? To actually pull from our base into theirs?
I think they're getting ready for a regime change of some kind. This whole blow up between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump, I think this was the first domino to get tipped over for the GOP. This is not going to play out good for them at all. It blew up on Truth Social. There is a huge rift happening in the Republican Party. I was on streams I was on streams all last night listening to people talk about this. You had leftist and right-leaning people in there. Everyone is pissed at this administration. Everyone.
Yeah.
Unless you have stacks in your bank, and then you're not paying attention to this stuff because you're out there living your best life. It's not your
concern. Right. Yeah, you're playing golf somewhere. But
there's a whole lot more of us than there are of those folks.
Well, yes, that's true. But they've put us in the place that we have no control over anything anyway. So it doesn't matter. It's those that have those stacks that are actually making the decisions and making the changes in the political stream. And we have no say in it. So it's not going to matter.
Not for long. Not for long. I'm telling you, man, this will not continue much longer. Now, I realize this could be part of the op. This could be, everything's an op. Everything's a marketing for, the next big, beautiful, dumbass bill.
Yeah.
Let me play this. Where'd it go? What the fuck? Okay, here we go.
What's the date on the phone?
This is from
12 days ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Just okay.
The one thing Republicans have to do to win the midterms, plus making the fake vindictive news pay. Here's part 2 of my exclusive interview with President Trump. Are you going ahead and suing the BBC?
Well, I guess I have to. Why not? Because they defrauded the public, and they've admitted it. And their top echelon,
Director General and the CEO.
This is within one of our great allies. This is supposedly a great ally. BBC, the government has a chunk of that one, I guess. But that's a pretty sad event. They actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. And what they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of what they did, how they butchered it up. But it was very dishonest, and the head man quit, and a lot of the other people
We're actually
quit.
going to play it right now.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
This is just the beginning, man. This is just the beginning. Tell me they didn't use AI tools for that. Did you see the cuts? Because I didn't.
I didn't know.
They used AI for that. This is just the fucking beginning of this crap. This isn't lawsuit territory. This is people getting arrested, going to prison territory. They've made this okay. The rhetoric in our country has made this acceptable worldwide. This is just going to get worse. I wasn't even going to talk about this part, but, it's interesting she brought that up. You get one of these clips go viral at the wrong time when everything else is already going wrong because they're doing fuck all about fixing stuff here. Yeah. This could blow up bad, real bad, real fast. And that's without going into the actual shit that this guy says, which she's about to get into right now.
Right.
And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
But tonight you are saying to our viewers that you will go forward and file a defamation lawsuit against the BBC.
Well, I think I have an obligation to do it because you can't allow people to do that. I couldn't allow 60 Minutes. We settled that one for many millions of dollars, and I couldn't have allowed that to take place. They changed the answer that Kamala gave. They took out the entire answer and they put another answer in. The first answer was election defying. It with me, idiot boost. It's like when they say, "Are you going to attack Venezuela? Are you going to attack this one? Are you going to attack?" They say, "I'm not going to tell you whether or not I am." So I don't want to really give you, but I think we are doing phenomenally well. This is the greatest economy we've ever had. Their talking points.
Huh? What?
Well, to be fair, in his terms, this probably is the best that we've had it, but. That's in his two terms. I don't know, man, because it's everybody's got their talking point, and then of course they can't back it up with actual statistics because the statistics actually are written by liars in the first place. They weigh them however they want, so it looks good on them. It's like the jobs bill, the jobs labor report that supposedly was going to come out.
Yeah.
And they put it off because, the government was shut down and we weren't able to get those together. So we're going to wait and we're going to put them together 2 months together in one, I think in December.
What does it matter?
It doesn't, because they're fucking lying anyway.
They're just going to lie. This Obama started this crap under his administration, the BLS lying about the jobs numbers.
But when you start looking at the actual companies, when Amazon comes out and says, "Oh, we're laying off 1,200 people, or we're laying off 12,000 people, or we're laying off 1.2 million people," You know, the companies are the ones that actually are telling us the truth. Not the we can't go by the labor statistics because they're made up.
Yeah, they always have
they just put their thumb on the scale.
Devastating fucking revisions that come after the fact every single time now. So what's the point? I mean, you're saying our production is up. Why isn't my paycheck up? It's not just me.
Well, and you go to buy anything, everything has gone up. You can't afford to buy anything now. You have to rent something. And even at that, you can't even afford to rent it. It's ridiculous. The prices of everything have gone up. And where is this going to end? How is it going to? I remember the 70s. I remember when things were really out of hand. And this is so much worse. You know, the housing market is really taking a nosedive. We've got people that can't afford housing. But we have all these houses that are sitting vacant and falling apart.
Deferred maintenance.
I don't understand the process of this economy is getting better. It's not. It's getting worse. Your insurance has all gone up because, gosh, they can't afford to pay out, on their claims because, it's too big of a risk. That's been a scam from the start anyway. All of these people that, got hit by the hurricanes, they're still trying to rebuild. Some of them still don't have houses. But they sure can't get insurance on the new house because it's too much of a risk. Car manufacturers, there are car lots that have brand new cars sitting on them. They're 2 years old. They can't sell them. Why? Because people can't afford them. Now they're giving away 57-inch TVs with a new pickup truck. Yeah, buy a $60,000 truck and get a 57-inch TV. Well, it's $200.
Both made in China. Comes from the same factory. They got some machine oil in your TV. May contain fruits, nuts, and bullshit.
It goes back to the fact that everything is it's all made to distract you from what else is going on. And it really goes, back to what I've been trying to say. And the topic came up today about freedom of speech and freedom of privacy and the global new world order that's coming in. They're trying to take over with a global economy. And they're going to put everybody in a little box, and you're going to do what you're told, or you're not going to exist. You will be obsolete. And we'll just do away with you. China's been doing that for how many years? Russia's been doing that for how many years? What does that tell you? There's a systemic problem there. We've allowed this to happen in our global landscape. We've just turned a blind eye and went, okay, it's fine. As long as it doesn't bother me, I'm not worried about it. Well, what are you going to do when they come for you? Everybody's heard that one, right?
We're boned. We're boned. Oh, man, I got too many fucking windows open.
Sorry.
I need another monitor.
Well, that's why I picked up those two, but
yeah, let me borrow one of yours here.
I'll email it to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to get off on a tangent, but
it's all right. I was dealing with technical difficulties while you were doing so. This has been a never-ending battle on my end because of the Linux crossover.
Well, I think in the long run, you're going to be much more satisfied. It's just right now you've got some transition issues. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do all this stuff again once I get my other computer in, but good practice.
Oh yeah,
for the
that's
real
fine.
thing. Yeah, I was gonna pull. Pull this up real quick. I got. Here we
We
go.
were talking about. Go ahead.
This is the Smith Modernization Act.
Okay.
This is the. Jesus. That's not what I clicked. What the fuck?
Is this the Charlie bill?
No, this is older. This goes back to Obama.
Okay. Yeah.
The act authorizes the U.S. government through the U.S. Department of State to promote a better understanding of the United States and other countries and to increase mutual understanding between the people of the United States and the people of other countries. What does that sound like to you?
That sounds like allowing a one world government to actually come into play.
This sounds like the U.S. government can pick allies that we're to be allies with and then brainwash the American people about how great they are to be allies with.
Okay, I get that. You're getting a little bit more of a narrow view of it, but that's probably a good way to see that.
Experience has made me jaded, Rage.
Well, I have a little more experience on you, bud, but yeah, I get that. I understand what you're saying, and I totally agree with what you're saying. I never looked at it in that aspect, but now that you bring it up, that makes a lot more sense.
We're just getting started, man. That's just one section. It empowers the Secretary of State to carry out an information service to disseminate abroad information about the United States, its peoples, and policies through various media. A key section is Title I, Section 501 of the Act 22 U.S.C. 1461. Let's take a look at that one. This is what I get for having way too many tabs open. And
can you drop that in the chat so I can take a look at it?
Yeah. Let me do it without the GPT tracker on it because I don't know what that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. I would rather not have that if I don't have to.
Yeah, that looks like some metadata harvesting bullshit to me. So this link may or may not work.
By the way, you know that VPNs are going to be become illegal, right? There's already 2 states that are actually enacting laws to deal with you being able to use a VPN.
Yeah, this all rolled in on the coattails of the
Big Beautiful Bill, actually.
No. Oh wait, maybe but
it did. As a matter of fact,
I was gonna say that actually Texas and their adult content ban actually got this ball rolling.
Well, that is true, but it goes a little further back to part of that was in the Big Beautiful Bill, so you have to kind of look for the terminology. It's that legalese, they put that crap in there so people don't know what the hell they're signing off on. And yeah, what section are you in now?
501.
501.
The Secretary is authorized when he finds it appropriate to provide for preparation and dissemination abroad of information of the United States. This is abroad.
Right.
That's not what we're looking for. It's still important, but that's not the part. That's that we really care about. Originally, the law prohibited dissemination of the materials produced from foreign audiences. Originally.
Yeah.
The often cited portion is 22 U.S.C. 1461. The Secretary of State and the Chief Executive Officer of the Agency for International Broadcasting are authorized to provide for the preparation, dissemination abroad of information about the United States and its people. It's the abroad part that matters. It sets the foreign audience remit. With the 2012 amendment, these materials may be made available domestically under request, but the law still emphasizes foreign dissemination first. What does that matter? This was Obama's NDAA tap on the Smith-Mundt Act, the Smith-Mundt modernization.
Modernization. Yeah. Okay.
Now, what is a psychological operation, I ask you?
Techniques used by military and police forces to influence the beliefs, emotions, and behavior of citizens.
Yes.
In the military, it's known as a psychological operation or a PSYOP. There are operations to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their motives and objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and large foreign powers. The purpose of the United States psychological operations is to induce or reinforce behavior perceived to be favorable to U.S. objectives. They are an important part of the range of diplomatic, informational, military, and economic activities available to the U.S. They can be utilized both during peacetime and conflict. There are three main types: strategic, operational, and tactical. Strategic PSYOPs include informational activities conducted by the U.S. government agencies outside of the military arena. Though many use the Department of Defense, which is now the Department of War, assets. Operational PSYOPs are conducted across a range of military operations, including during peacetime, in a defined operational area to promote effectiveness in the Joint Force Commanders, JFC's, campaigns and strategies. Tactical PSYOPs are conducted in the area assigned to a tactical commander across the range of military operations to support the tactical mission against opposing forces. All of this is the same thing what they're doing against us, the American people.
Yes. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because what these definitions, they don't actually tell you what an operation is, what it consists of, because it's very vague. It could literally be anything. It could be something as simple as a newspaper article that was concocted, back in the day when people still knew how to read. Or it could be as elaborate as, I don't know, having a 65-year-old man go Rambo on 500 people in Arizona for no reason. Or Nevada.
Allegedly
in Minecraft. All while Mohammed bin Salman just happens to be staying at a hotel at the same place, and there might be some wet works going on. And we staged the room. Cops said there wasn't a hole in the window that he supposedly shot out of, and the body cam footage cut out right in time not to show it.
Yeah.
Even though they had to purposely angle the body camera away. This is a long aside. This is a very long aside.
But it's very telling. It's very important. Modern propaganda is the use of information, often biased or misleading, to influence public opinion, primarily through mass media and social media platforms, which has become the form of media transformation, which is really stupid. But it employs various techniques such as emotional appeals and misinformation to sway beliefs and behaviors.
Mm-hmm. Propaganda can best be defined in my eyes as convincing you of a lie. It's towards a defined objective, but convincing you towards a lie. Could be something truthful that's used to convince you towards that objective, by the way. In the case of the clip that we just played earlier, yes, military members, it is your duty to refuse an illegal order. That's a thing. That's true. You don't want to find yourself on a Nuremberg trial. But the problem is the way in which this was couched. It's obvious this is politically motivated. It comes out in dubious timing. What's going on right now with law enforcement and military where this might be applicable? If anybody can't see through this for what it is, I can't help you. You just go to somebody else's channel. I don't know what to do for you. Your brain's broken.
Well, unfortunately, we have a lot of those individuals in our society right now. So they do have broken brains, and there's no fixing broken.
Yeah. They're going to get railroaded by reality very soon. This is not going to slow down. Trump came out and said, man, I should probably just play the rest of this.
Okay.
Because we started playing it, and then Come on.
What was the guy's name that I can't remember? You reminded me yesterday. The father of modern marketing.
Edward Bernays.
Bernays, that's the guy. And if you guys haven't ever heard of that, you need to look him up because it's really important.
Originally, I thought of P.T. Barnum. There's a sucker born every minute.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. This way to the great egress.
That was the guy that went around leaving, like, I think it was nickels or dimes that led to his circus tent or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, there are public Trump officials as well as officials in the GOP that are expressing concerns about this. They've had some reaction. Here's Stephen Miller, his reaction to the Democrat Don't Give Up the Ship video. He says Democrat lawmakers are now openly calling for insurrection. We also have this sound from Senator Marsha Blackburn reacting.
Okay, well, that's not actually what they did. This is the way this was couched. Like, I played the whole thing. That wasn't edited, but I played the whole thing. So the way this was couched, I don't think you're going to get them on anything because what they said was technically true. But it is weaselly. You and I, you can feel the spirit of it is malice and chaos. But you can't prosecute on that. And to be clear, I don't think it does qualify as treason. Somebody, legal minds might make an argument that it qualifies as sedition. That's a different thing, but I don't think it qualifies for either.
Well, it would be very hard to get a jury. I don't even know if you could find a judge specifically that would interpret that law in that manner. That's the problem, is that the law can be interpreted. And that's what's happening here, is that we've got too many interpreters.
Mm-hmm. We can't have plain language on stuff, and this feels dangerous to me.
Well, it's a very slippery slope.
This feels, what they're saying feels dangerous, and this administration's pending reaction, depending on how this goes down, whether or not they actually get prosecuted for anything, just how they move forward is going to set it's going to set the temperature for the rest of the administration going forward.
It will definitely set a precedent for the rest of the administration. So I don't know how this is going to actually play out. I don't know who's got actual court orders or legal papers in the process. We don't know. I mean, they in their little offices may be getting together and talking, okay, we need to do this in order to do this step. And you know what that step is going to be, they're going to try to do. Where on the other hand, he's going to try to counter by taking them out of office to remove that political threat. And I don't know how that's going to work. You're banging heads. It's two goats that are fighting over a mountain, and it's not going to happen. It's not. Both of them are going to end up with banged up heads, but there's not going to actually be anything that it determines a good outcome.
It's not necessarily okay. Well, it definitely does matter how this turns out in the end. What I'm saying is where they go next is at least as important as what the outcome is, legally speaking. Which, by the way, I don't think it's going to turn into anything. I think what we're watching here is just rich people battling with other rich people at our expense.
Well, and I brought this up to you yesterday. This is political theater. That's all it is.
Yes,
it's movie scripts and theater, and let's put on a show, and keep everybody distracted while we do this. So don't look over here, look over there, because this is what's important. What we're doing over here is not important.
That's why I brought up the Smith-Munt thing, because there's a part of me, especially since 2020, that wonders, is this just a psyop? Are we seeing that whole blow up between Elon Musk and Trump? Was that just a put up job? Was that real? Was there any part of that was real? Was Doge ever supposed to do its stated goal? Or was that just there to placate us long enough to push through the first leg of the administration?
Well, I mean, he did get the big, beautiful bill passed. That was important for him to do.
Mm-hmm. And he's already going to outspend all the savings that Doge came in and made.
Yeah.
By orders of magnitude.
We're still giving money to other countries, but not taking America first.
1 year in, we're already $2 trillion more in debt. What do we have to show for that?
Nothing. We have a lot of promises over the next 10 years. But, anything can happen in those 10 years. That doesn't mean that's actually going to come to fruition. All the markets are going to change.
Listen.
Go ahead.
They have stage 4 Trump derangement syndrome. And it is inconceivable that you would have elected officials that are saying to uniformed members of the military who have taken an oath to protect and defend that they would defy the orders that they have been given to execute their mission. That is what they have chosen to do, and we will see what the response to them from Democrats. Some fairly
okay. I'm going to stop you here because I don't think this has ever been about TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, and they just Republicans are terrible about bringing this up, and I think it really discredits what's actually happening here. If Trump was just another Bush Jr., none of this would have happened. The last 8 years would have been, it just would have been, well, what Obama was, which was another Bush Jr., what Clinton was before, another Bush Jr. We've just had these last, 20 years has just been a repeat of Bush Senior years.
Yeah. They're just putting the record on repeat. Yeah.
So if this was just about the man, I think things would look different. This is about policy. It's always, 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 always about policy. When they hyperfixate on characters like this, they don't want you to look at policy.
Yeah. That really digs into something that I've been really wanting to talk about. But what I was going to say was, very honestly, until just recently, I didn't know anything about TDS. And it was brought to my attention that everybody's been talking about this. And I'm like, well, okay. But in the circles that I travel, that's not ever been brought up. I understand that that's going on, but yeah, you're putting a name to it with the president's name in it as a syndrome. We're making up shit basically, and that's what they've done with a lot of psychological stuff. They just make up words to kind of get you distracted and persuade you to think this is a specific disease or problem. I don't know, man. I everything is so much a psyop now. You can't tell what's real and what's made up. And both of these sides are going to play their part, however it's been written for them. And I don't know who's on what side. You can't even tell.
This is very simpler. It's otherization. This is what we do to our enemies. It's one of the oldest tactics in the book to get you to, go fight the enemy over there. Oldest time itself. That's what's really going on. They won't call it that. At least most people won't call it that. But Trump derangement syndrome is just otherization. This same withering lens of public scrutiny could be placed on anybody, and has been, especially in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
But we don't call it. Yeah, I think somebody was already trying to push J.D. Vance derangement syndrome. Like, I don't think that dude's going to get elected. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I might have brought something up about that previously, but what it is that they set us up into tribes, and that's one of the basic fundamentals of a society is that you have to have a tribe, and everybody has to pull together in that tribe to achieve certain goals. But then your tribe has to have an enemy. That's you have an enemy to actually keep you safe.
Yes,
basically.
especially in the absence of an overarching goal.
Right.
Say, like, I don't know, the advancement of the American people. Maybe we can get some people out of poverty and stop struggling. All the Democrats can do is talk about getting everybody else to pay everyone else's bills. Well, all that does is jack up taxes and make our life more miserable.
Yeah.
We need to start producing things here. The Republicans talk about that, but they haven't fucking delivered. And I suspect they're not gonna. I've been given nothing to believe that that's going to be the case. And the only thing this administration seems to be focused on is artificial intelligence, which is going to replace half the fucking jobs. We're going to have these dark factories and the robots are going to build everything. Great. Are the prices going to go down? Are the wages going to go up? Where are we going to work? We're not even having, if we're going to move into this Jetson society, you better start talking about universal basic income, or you're going to have people sharpening guillotines in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
As we're all living on the fucking streets because we can't afford rent or houses. I can't follow this train of logic from either side anymore. There are no serious politicians left. It's just gaslighting and spin everywhere, and I'm just fucking tired of it. And for the longest time, I'm like, I'm just crazy. It's probably me. No, it's not me. There is a ton of pissed off people here. You get on these spaces with me one of these nights, man, you're going to hear it too. There are thousands of these folks, and they're not stupid. They know the problems. This doesn't work anymore. What we're looking at, this doesn't work. The people that are still watching this slop don't believe it either. I don't even. What am I supposed to do with this? This it's not useful. What they said is something that soldiers, airmen, and Marines should already know. So what was the point? Oh, and by the way, actually, the funny thing is, in their little lineup here, they were interesting little omission. Little omission in their lineup of, because they had I think they had a Coast Guard guy, Air Force, Navy, but they didn't have a Marine in there.
No,
I wonder why. Because good luck finding a lefty Marine that's actually going to put their face on the camera.
It's not going to happen.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Significant pushback there. And I think it's worth noting that the lawmakers in this ad represented a multitude of different branches of the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Central Intelligence. Your thoughts on how the GOP is reacting?
I think correctly. I mean, this was, at the end of the day, this was unnecessary. It was redundant, and it's dangerous. It is subversive, and it's really, I think it was political grandstanding, maybe to get the spotlight and grab some camera time. But it's something that we already know that the military is in very good hands. Perhaps, I think, the best hands we've been in decades. And I'm very proud of what President Trump has done, because we're losing 80,000 Americans annually to opioid overdoses, mostly from fentanyl. And if we're going to take
okay, whatever, that's got nothing to do with anything. So Donald Trump came over. You can look up the tweet. It's still up there. People have talked about this. This is treason. And, you know, treason you can be hanged or whatever for that. And
Put to death. Put to death.
Put to death. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah. And that's my question to some other people were, is this a hanging crime? Is that
no
what we're talking about? I don't believe so. I really don't think any court of law would actually pull that and say, yeah, this is treason and they need to be put to death. It's just another way to villainize your opponent. It's that problem that we've had in politics in the last, 16 years, 20 years, that the rhetoric has just gotten worse against the opponents. Why do we allow them to say things like that about their opponents? That we can't say that. We'll go off in a black van somewhere and go to federal prison. We're talking about a certain group, because that's hate speech. But they can do it, and it's not. Why? How does that figure? I'm really getting tired of all the propaganda that's being shoved down our throats from all sides. And the only way to get away from it is to disconnect. And I think for a lot of us, that's probably a good thing. If we were to disconnect everything from all of this noise, we would be in a much better place.
Giant meteor for, whatever. Send the meteor, send the asteroid, send the EMP.
Well, that topic has come up several times recently, but I don't know, man. I just I don't see any of this making us a better country. What they're doing is they're dividing us even more, and maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's the whole idea. If their plan is to actually get a more separated citizenry, so we can't, fight back, that they're succeeding in that.
I've got one more clip here. Oh, look, X is telling me I need to get verified to get boosted and blah, 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 blah. I was verified. I think you should only have to pay for that once, by the way. I don't think that should be a subscription thing.
Yeah, well, after my shadow ban, I'm not going back. So.
That is fucked. That happened to me as well with this account. I had to like all the stuff that I told you, that's stuff that I had to figure out the hard way after it happened to me. So I wouldn't necessarily cancel your stuff right now. You're gonna have to pretty much delete all your posts, especially those the ones we talked about.
Yeah, I did.
Let's see. I tagged Glenn Beck on this, and of course he didn't respond. He never fucking does.
No, and I've done a couple to him as well. But I haven't tagged Jimmy Dore on a couple, but that didn't go anywhere.
Effect is something that I brought to America about 2003, and it describes a.
All right.
The Bubba effect is something that I brought to America about 2003.
The Bubba effect is what he said. Let me slow this down a little bit here. He's talking kind of fast. This fucking thing. That's not what I'm looking for.
No, it was. Yeah, there it is.
All right, let's try that.
And it describes a really dangerous social dynamic that will emerge when the average everyday American citizen no longer believes in the institutions, government, media, law enforcement, our courts. And it begins with the local guy, Bubba. Bubba, it'll be Bubba against the officials, the government, or whoever.
Damn, he's got old.
And Bubba might do something stupid, something that we're like, oh, Bubba, don't do that. What are you doing? But he does it. And even though he might be wrong or might be misguided in the way he's doing it, everybody kind of just looks away and goes, yeah, well, that's just Bubba. You know, don't worry about Bubba. But he's right about this. You're the problem. Okay. I've been warning since 2003 about the Bubba effect, that at some point it's going to happen. And it is everywhere today. And I want to show you where it is, because I've got 4 different stories today I'm going to take you through in the next, 60 minutes or probably 120 minutes. And in that, you will see the Bubba effect everywhere. And it is not just one place. Okay?
Nope.
This is
nope. And by the way, that his little intro bit here, what does that sound like to you? Not trusting institutions, not trusting politicians. Sounds like, almost the last decade now. Actually, it sounds like everything from 2001 onward.
2000, really, yeah. But when we changed the millennium, yeah. Go ahead.
This is not an academic phrase. This is rooted in not only American history, but in human behavior. So let me explain. When the government loses its legitimacy and people no longer believe the official explanations or the official investigations, and there is no official moral authority, the outsider becomes the trusted insider. Okay? Now let's go through this. Do you believe the explanations of what is happening on most things today?
Nope.
Do you believe the explanations just of stupid stuff like, hey, those were drones over the skies, and
still no answers.
We can't tell you what they are, but they were definitely not from China, and they're definitely not from space. They were probably ours. Do you believe that explanation? I mean, and that could be one of the most consequential, depending on what it is, but it really doesn't mean all that much because we don't know what it is. Okay, but I don't believe them. Do you believe the Epstein thing is on the up and up, that we're ever going to get the truth?
No.
Do you believe that the investigations either, on either side, into Trump or into Trump's enemies, that justice is ever going to be done?
No.
These shooters, do you believe the Butler shooter?
Nope.
Do you believe Charlie Kirk, that thing?
Nope.
Do you even know where to stand on that one? I mean, I think I do, but I don't know.
Put up job.
Look at how people are saying, oh, you know what? That was an inside job. And so many people.
Yep.
And how many things have we covered? How many things have we covered that we don't believe the narrative that they're trying to give us? And we're not the only ones. There's a lot of people that have no trust in what the government has to say.
And on consequential things too. Not little stuff. A 65-year-old man, probably had rheumatoid arthritis, and he goes on a shooting spree in Las Vegas from his hotel window, firing a bumper bumpy stock.
How many rounds in that short period of time?
Like 600 rounds, something like that.
Yeah, 600. In how many minutes? 8?
And that guy, Jesus Campos, because of course we got to use the Lord's name in vain for our psyops. he stopped the shooter somehow, and then he had he was going to do a Hannity interview, and then he canceled that, and then he went to Mexico, and then he came back and had that one interview with Ellen, and she's like, and you're never going to do another interview again.
And guess what? He never has.
Never has. Don't even know if that was a real guy. Just
No, I don't know what actually has become of him. He may have gotten the black man treatment, so.
And the
he
stuff
may be
with
in the desert somewhere. Go ahead.
This stuff with Thomas Crooks, 20-year-old breaks bad, doesn't have a digital footprint except oh yeah, I guess he did have a digital footprint, and then they did the same thing with this Tommy Robinson guy and Charlie Kirk, and this is just, it feels like all of these are coming from the same playbook. That's where all of this starts to come to a head. When people's distrust, because they show patterns, people feel justified. The conspiracy theories will win out in the absence of evidence, and we're not presented with any compelling evidence. And when you scrutinize any one of these topics that he's about to list out, you'll find they all have holes. And they have holes in a fashion that lends itself towards a certain agenda, and it's not for the American people. Tells us we're not getting the full picture. And when that happens, people naturally ask why. So no, I don't think any of these agencies have credibility or trust anymore. The Bubba effect, as he's describing it, is just people asking questions. And in his example, it's a stupid guy doing something stupid. It almost sounds like I'm getting vibes of the Ben Shapiro just asking questions bit.
Yeah, and that really went all over me on that one. Because he used to be one of the ones that was asking questions.
He sure did.
He's flipped the script completely. And how do you do that without being on the inside?
Well, money creates delusion also is another effect. I don't think Ben Shapiro is necessarily a bad person. I think money creates delusion. And when you get comfortable enough and you get enough zeros in your bank account, you stop asking hard questions, because that carries financial penalties, especially when your wealth is based upon your fame and your acceptance into this matrix network of influencers.
Yeah.
People are believing it. That's the Bubba effect. Okay. When a crisis hits, a shooting, a standoff, a raid, people stop siding with the government and instead side with Bubba, the neighbor who stands against the federal power. Wrongdoing becomes irrelevant. Even if Bubba is partially or completely wrong.
Okay, got to stop him again here, because who defines wrongdoing? And this goes into what you were talking about here, the hate speech laws, which they're trying to shoehorn through.
Yeah.
If we go the direction that Canada and the UK is gone, and we start criminalizing people speaking, on the internet, but that's going to move into real life very quickly after that, if not at the same time, we are in danger. We are in danger of getting a Democrat candidate in the Oval Office after this, because I view this administration as a fucking train wreck. I don't think they're going to get another Republican candidate in there. I do think, however, and this will be, I was going to do this as a closing, but I think that 2028 is going to be the year primed for a third-party candidate. If there was ever a time for a third-party candidate to get taken seriously and be a real contender, now would be it. Not just for the presidency, but for the the Senate and the Congress too. Because people are tired of what's happening right now, and it's showing in every facet of our society right now.
The public's animosity towards authority is so deep that they go to defend Bubba just as an act of protest. In a way, you saw this with O.J. Simpson. You know, all of the jurors later said, yeah, we knew he was guilty, but we wanted to. They were making, it was a form of protest. Once it starts, it begins to escalate everywhere. And then authorities have to crack down even harder, and that causes more escalation. Okay, citizens resist more fiercely. Each side starts to interpret the other side as the aggressor. Now, this is happening now in Dearborn, Michigan. People are sick and tired of what is going on in Dearborn, Michigan. The lies about what is happening with the immigrants that are coming in, with these communities that are closed off, with the clear threat that Sharia law is, with what we're seeing happening in the city council meetings, what we're seeing happening on the streets, what's happening in our communities and our country. We feel like we're losing America, the America that we grew up in. But more than that now, it is becoming clear that the faith we have all had that helped build this country is coming under attack by a very hostile force, Sharia law. Now, no one with any credibility is doing anything. They've been calling, everybody a Islamophobe forever. And so that doesn't hold any weight anymore, right? So some guy comes and he's wrapping a Quran in bacon. Okay, would Jesus do that? No. Are you thrilled and happy that that's happening? No. Is that the way to make the case? No. But why is it being condoned or dismissed by so many people? Because of the Bubba effect. At least he's pointing out the problem. Sound familiar? That's the...
By the way, what he's angling at here, he doesn't actually say his name. What he's angling at is Nick Fuentes, which I think Nick Fuentes is another fucking plant. I don't like this guy. I don't like the way he bobbles his head and gesticulates when he's talking.
Yeah. It's another theater.
Yeah.
It's another show. It's all a show.
He's an op. I've been saying this guy's the new Andrew Tate. This is the guy they're going to bring up to dismiss the talking points that he's in support of.
Yeah.
So this, I was listening again, going to the X Spaces. These guys talking about the America First movement, how it's separated, branched off from MAGA. Oh, who's the leader of America First? And would you say it's Nick Fuentes? Hello, leading the witness.
Well, I do think the America First is going to actually hold water, because that is something that a lot of American citizens feel very strongly about. Unfortunately, there are some bad talking heads that are going to try to push their way into that state, into that movement, and I don't know that that's going to be good for either one. We were talking about it earlier, and it's the AF movement, right? We already know what AF stands for, right? I'm mad as fuck.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to take anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
find out.
That's what's
around.
Coming. Yeah. Find out.
Yeah. It's
so you're talking about Nick, and I can't say that he really is like bringing this to the forefront. He's not. He's a small fish in a big pond. But there are others like Glenn and Jimmy, and that are bringing this out and saying, "Look, we're really making a mistake," and they're absolutely right. We are not spending the money on Americans. We're sending it overseas.
Yeah,
we're not taking America first. We're not taking, everything is outsourced. All the jobs are going to other countries. We say we're going to bring them in. But what's your plan? Well, let's see it. Put it out there. I got no way to reason to believe that. You've given me nothing to say. This is what we're going to do. So you're not putting America first. You're putting your interests first. How many of those Congress people have not taken money from a particular lobby? And I won't bring up the group. There are only 2 of those individuals in Congress that have not taken any money from that group of individuals. That's a sad state of affairs. When our government can be bought off like that by a group, what does that say?
And that should be illegal. And
it should be. It should
used
never
to
have
be.
been. Well, I don't know why they changed it. I don't know why we've allowed that to happen. We're putting these people in charge of our country, and we're letting them take money from foreign interests
And
to
domestic
further
ones.
Well,
don't forget the lobbyists, K Street.
Well, I'm trying not to get really, because that's going to go down a real long road. But yeah, I mean, it really all ties together. Those guys that have the stacks are all on the same side. They all have the same political agenda in mind. It's to further their own interests, whatever those may be. And it has nothing to do with political policy or any of the political rhetoric that's going on. It's their own interests. What is best for me? Period. That's it. And unfortunately, that's not always best for the American people. They don't care.
Enriching America would make their lives better by osmosis. This is
you would think
these are
so,
central planners. These are central planners. They have a vision in mind, and getting towards that goal is paramount. They're not seeing clearly. They've been brainwashed too. A lot of these guys have been brainwashed. Young leaders, stuff like that. I don't even know that these folks are completely in control of their own faculties either. So, it's easy to get caught up in this and just target fixate. That's what the Fuentes crowd does. And there's going to be a lot of people that get caught up in his tailwind effect. I would argue that, the hate stuff gets overused quite a bit to the point where it's become meaningless. But he definitely displays actual hatred towards certain groups of folks. I don't think that's a healthy direction for America to go. And him co-opting that term, which America first predates him by quite a bit. I think the first person I heard talk about it was actually Seb Gorka on 660 AM back when he was before he got appointed to his office. Another factoid that I'm not very happy with. All these, podcasters and talk show hosts suddenly get appointed to the Oval Office. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like this Hollywood cabinet that we've got arranged. It's between Hollywood and the hedge fund guys in there, and Goldman Sachs and defense contractor crew. This was never going to be anything other than what we're getting right now, because he hand selected another group of deep state Wall Street fuckheads. So we're getting what we got. What he's pointing out here, the Bubba effect here, he's pointing out the low IQ folks that can get steered like human missiles towards the worst ends. And we're going to see this, man, unfortunately.
But we're all product. We're all cattle. They're leading us to slaughter, basically. And they're, who's the Judas goat? We don't know. There's so many of them.
Well, the best way to destroy a movement is to defend it with spurious arguments, and that's what Fuentes represents. Same thing with Andrew Tate and men's rights and the manosphere and all that. It was the same thing. You can just point to this guy, and because he has some insane hate-filled rhetoric on half the side of his whatever opinions and stated opinions, that somehow invalidates everything else that he says that might actually be logical and make sense. We can't make those arguments because the boogeyman is associated with those arguments, so everything else about that is evil. This is an old trick, man. They've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
It's just gotten progressively worse. I knew this guy was a plant from day one. Him, his whole, and this is another guy, interestingly enough, in the orbit of Mr. Medicare. I forget the guy's name. Ralph, the Ralph Rhetoric guy, Tonka, Baked Alaska, all those morning Kumatai guys. He got kind of his start orbiting these guys. Very interesting. I always thought Medicare was a plant.
Yeah, I kind of got that feeling myself, but I didn't know that, Nick actually had been in that orbit. So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, Ralph is he's one of those supreme guys. Disgusting. Let me play the rest of this here. I don't have a whole lot of time left.
The Bubba effect. It's not one guy on the porch with a rifle. It's about a societal tipping point. And when trust collapses, law becomes optional. Morals become optional. When institutions lose their moral credibility, power then becomes coercion. When the public assumes that corruption is the default, the truth no longer matters. And in that atmosphere, even a minor confrontation can spiral into a national crisis. And that is exactly where we're headed. And history is full of these moments.
We're not
1790s, the Whiskey Rebellion. What was that? They couldn't pay the soldiers. So what do they do? Well, states decide, I got to raise the taxes. They raise taxes on whiskey. Well, that turns into, that's a federal overreach. What if soldiers fought against that? Higher taxes. Now you're taxing our whiskey. Yeah, because we have to pay you and we don't have any other way to raise money. Well, we want our money, but we don't want taxes. And so what happened? That overreach turned dissenters into folk heroes. Bleeding Kansas. That happened in the 1850s. Distrust in the federal arbitration caused vigilante on both sides to become local champions because some were standing up for slavery and government overreach, and some were standing up for it. Okay. Post-Reconstruction, citizens preferred the local strongman over the federal enforcement of civil rights. Whenever trust collapses, citizens instinctively choose the closest authority in their community, even if it is flawed. You will defend even the wrong guy, not because he's right, but because the system is wrong. And that is the real danger of the Bubba effect. It's not a call to rebellion. It's a warning that unchecked corruption eventually produces rebellion spontaneously. It always happens. And the Bubba effect is a natural consequence of a nation that mocks accountability. Do you think accountability is being mocked? You're held accountable. Is anybody else? It punishes dissent. Or no matter which side you're on. You're either a communist or a Nazi and you need to be shut up. It hides behind bureaucracy. Well, we can't release that because we don't have all the details because, well, this is an ongoing investigation, an investigation that nobody believes. And then it expects unquestioning obedience. Trust us. There's nothing to see here. The Bubba effect is a symptom of a republic in decline, not the cause of it. Now, let me show you a different kind of Bubba effect. And this one, well, let me just play it. Came out a couple of days ago. Here are the Democrats putting together something that is aimed directly towards the Bubbas in the military and the CIA. Listen.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Matt.
Okay. We already played this, so I'm just going to skip it.
All right. I want to talk to you about that because this is causing all kinds of problems because now Donald Trump has responded in saying they should be executed. They should not be executed. However, I do believe this is seditious, and I'll explain the difference between treason and sedition here in just a second and show you how this is the Bubba effect, just a different version of it. All right. This is not about Republicans. It's not about Democrats. It's not about the president, Donald Trump. This is something that no generation of American has ever seen, not in 250 years of constitutional history. A group of sitting members of Congress, senators and representatives, went on camera and told active duty military personnel and the CIA to ignore orders of the President of the United States. They didn't whisper it. They didn't couch it in a private memo. They released it in a video for the entire world to see. What message is that sending to the rest of the world? For the first time in American political history, members of the United States Congress openly encouraged the military to look at the commander-in-chief and say, no. Now, this does not happen in a constitutional republic, and it cannot happen in a nation that wants to remain one. Now, you can say, and it's reasonable to say, well, this is just advice, right? It's a reminder that you don't follow illegal orders. Sounds reasonable until you look at history, because history has a merciless way of identifying patterns long before politicians will admit to them. In the entire American experiment, there are only a handful of moments anything like this has occurred. And every single one of those was a moment that was a prelude to national fracture. 1860 to 1861, it was the secession winter. Southern leaders encouraged officers at the federal level and forts to abandon the Union and pledge loyalty to the states. Not normal politics. This was the beginning of the rupture, and then came Fort Sumter. 1870, Reconstruction. Some states rejected federal authority outright. Sheriffs, militias, even sometimes judges refused federal directives, but Congress itself, they never told the army to ignore the president. In Vietnam, members of Congress denounced the war, denounced Nixon, denounced Johnson, but no one ever told active duty troops disobey the commander-in-chief. It wasn't done. Because every generation up until this one understood something very basic. You cannot politicize the chain of command without breaking the republic. And once the military begins to decide on its own which orders are legitimate, which ones, which president they prefer, you no longer have civilian control. You no longer have a republic. You have factions inside an armed institution. And that is exactly how nations collapse. And every single one of those sitting representatives know it. Turkey, Argentina, Spain, Egypt, every single example, the pattern is always the same. Political parties begin encouraging the military to resist the other side, and the center completely collapses. And this is the part where you need to hear me clearly. What we saw here this week with this is not the Bubba effect, where ordinary citizens lose trust in authority or rally behind the local guy. No. This is something far more seditious and serious. This is the institutional Bubba effect, where leaders inside the government, with their own plan, the political class, begin urging Bubba in the military to take sides in domestic political disputes.
Okay. Something else to note here. This has been going on before this little fiasco with these Congress people.
Right.
This has been going on. The most glaring example is that of the sanctuary cities and states.
Yeah.
They're already have been doing this at the institutional level. We have states right now. I know I'm going to get raked over the coals for this, but these states acting as sanctuary states and cities are in direct rebellion against the federal government. Now, I mean, we could have the argument over states' rights and, should cities be able to, municipalities be able to set their own agendas and okay, but what you're arguing for in that case is going back to the way things were before the Reconstruction Act.
Right.
If we're going to allow that kind of talk, as far as I know, we're not there. I know some states like Texas, it's in Florida, they're kind of their own little biomes, but we're talking about just outright ignoring federal law.
Not just ignoring, but actually completely rebelling against it.
Yes.
We're not allowing you to come into our state.
Yes.
We're not allowing federal officers to do operations within our state. We will fight you.
And those states and cities, the way in which they're going about breaking federal mandates and laws affect every other state in the union as a result. Now, if this were something that just kind of stayed in their own little ecosystem, it probably wouldn't be as big of a deal. It'd still be a big deal. But, typically when states are able to arbitrate their own laws, clauses, whatever, against what the federal government sets up, typically this is stuff that doesn't affect other states directly. This does. It affects every other state directly and indirectly because it disproportionately causes expenditures at the state and city level that they're not able to shoulder, so they have to ask for federal help.
Federal money, which they're not going to get.
They shouldn't be getting it.
Well, and that's the absolute truth. Unfortunately, they're probably still going to get some money from the federal level. And I don't know who's determining that, but it's an issue that needs to be addressed because you're setting up to push people in a direction that does not need to be. We don't need to be swung in that way.
We're being steered in this direction, though, man. And this is a lot of this is very recently. I mean, we've had other kind of stints with illegal immigration and even legal immigration pouring in. The Cuban boat lift crisis.
Right.
I think that was under Kennedy.
Yeah.
For example, and you had Operation, can't say the name because it's a slur now. I think that was under Reagan.
Yeah.
But really, like even Democrat presidents, Clinton, Obama, these guys understood that. That's why our borders were enforced more securely under those administrations.
Yeah.
Now, we had legal immigration problems. Those are a different bag of worms. But under the Biden administration, this was allowed to just explode out of proportion. And this is the one problem that this isn't something you can solve overnight. They know this. All these other countries that have been dealing with the immigration crisis, the UK for one, I mean, this is going to go nuclear at some point. Something like 50% of the babies born in the UK are named Mohammed. You've got a problem.
It's a larger number than that, but yeah, absolutely.
You've got a problem, and it's not just a cultural issue, although that's a huge part of it. It's also a financial one. This has been used as a wage suppression tool, primarily. That's what it's about. The money's crashing. We're spinning out. For whatever reason, they don't want to wrap this thing up. They don't want to balance the budget, or they can't. So they're importing cheap labor. It comes down to that. And also, it helps that those folks coming in are going to be dependent on the government dole, which they know the Democrat Party is going to favor, so they're going to vote blue, even though they shouldn't be voting at all. What he's talking about, he's saying it as a hypothetical, like this hasn't already happened. I'm sorry, Mr. Beck. This is why I don't really watch your show that much, because you're behind like a decade of other folks I've been listening to. Kind of sad. He boomerangs though. He does boomerang. I'm gonna play the rest of this.
That is a very, very bright line. The great unbroken line in American history. Unbroken in our history. That line kept us from becoming every other failed republic. And now these people have stepped over it. Now let me take on Donald Trump. Is this treason? No. Treason has a very narrow definition. Thank God. It requires aiding an enemy of the United States or levying war against the United States. So this is not treason in the strict constitutional sense. But here's a question. Isn't it something just as dangerous Isn't it an attempt, intentional or not, to plant the idea inside the military that the president's orders are optional? Is it a test balloon? Is it a rehearsal? Is it a way of saying when political sides disagree with the president, the military should stand with us? Or is it at the very best just completely reckless and irresponsible political theater that forgets the most sacred principle in American governance? The military does not take sides, period. Even if these lawmakers thought they were just, recommending moral guidance, they believe they were just reminding the troops to refuse illegal orders.
Play this stupid fucking game. Because they won't fix the money.
Well, at this point, I don't know if they can. I mean, we're how many $1 trillion in debt? And a lot of that debt was actually bought up by China, and now they're dumping all that back on us.
That's paper.
Well, again, it's all just on a screen somewhere, but
it's paper. You know how they could solve that? How much do we owe you? Oh, that's right, nothing. And we're going to write that into this piece of paper. We just made another piece of paper, and this piece of paper counteracts your piece of paper. We owe nothing. Goodbye, federal charter. We owe you nothing. Here's our new money. It's $1 is worth $1. Goodbye. Problem solved. It's that easy. You'd piss off a lot of people doing that, but we've already done that. We pissed off the entire world. Everyone that's shackled to the dollar. We shuffle our inflation onto those nations. They don't like it. This is why we have global inflation. We're not the only ones. Canada's housing market is through the fucking roof. The UK,
Spain, Greece, Turkey.
Yep. And by the way, these other nations are going through the ringer now too. Japan is looking to unwind the yen carry trade. That's going to send shockwaves. Yeah. Any number of these other nations that we're tied to, by the way, it doesn't have to be the United States that tips over first.
No.
What's happening over in the UK, if that blows up their market, we're going to feel that here. Canada, same thing. We're heavily dependent on their agriculture. We never should have gotten to this point, but that's where we are right now. And the idea that we're going to fix any of these issues through just tariffs alone is insane. And the idea that we're going to fix all these problems with artificial intelligence is really insane.
Absolutely insane. You're spending all this money on building these data centers, which are basically going to do away with a lot of jobs. But I mean, you're not training the people to actually man those facilities. And when you put that much, I don't know, control in one place, what if that was taken out for some reason? If that was destroyed in some manner by a hurricane or a tornado or a madman with whatever? How does that affect everybody else globally? What does that do to everybody else's economy? And I don't know. It's very strange. I just wanted to kind of bring this. I found this kind of interesting. This is going on not just in Florida, but in a lot of states right now. They're feeling the actual brunt, and I think we've talked about this kind of offline. But
roll this side. Hello, everyone. This is an update. Today is Tuesday, May the 16th. It's not Sunday. There is my truck with grass. And this is a construction site here in Davenport, Florida, 20 miles from Orlando. And this is all you see. It's 9 a.m. Usually at this time, there's a lot of people here working, all kind of contractors doing their job. Roofers, of course, a lot of noise and loud Mexican music. This is what you hear today. So it is happening. It is not fake. It is not a joke. You see one contractor there This is all
One white guy swinging a hammer.
Ron DeSantis.
Yes.
Anecdotal, obviously, but we don't know if it's fully there. That said, it's probably not a surprise. I mean, because this was long predicted. I'm even looking here at Tampa Bay Business Journal. They have a headline that just came out literally yesterday saying immigration law could significantly impact Florida's construction and agriculture industries. Here again, though, I'm just...
And that goes, you know, we talked about going to Walmart and how the store is actually empty in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Which is very strange. Other malls and locations that, you know, generally would be full of people are absolutely empty. Why is that?
Well,
have we really gotten rid of that many people, or
it's been,
is it the fact it's an economics problem that nobody has money to spend anything on anyway?
I think it's a combination of different elements. I think you've got, you know, the implied suggestion here, guffaw, that all the construction people got deported, or they're trying to avoid getting deported so they don't show up to the job site. So that's probably part of it. But yeah, I think the economic thing is definitely real. Stuff is stupid expensive. For the last 2 months, it's just been dead. Every time I go to the store, there's like, I can count the number of people in that grocery store, big grocery stores. I can count the number of people on one hand, including the employees. Yesterday was the exception. I went shopping yesterday, and it was elbow to elbow, but that's been the only exception. And I think that's just because we're kind of rolling up on Thanksgiving now.
Well, and here's the really sad side is that these retailers are already telegraphing what they're going to do and they know what's going to happen. If they don't have a good shopping season for holidays, they're going to lay off 50% of their workforce after the first of the year.
A lot of them already are.
Yeah.
A lot of them already are. Walmart.
They're not taking on holiday people like they normally would.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really putting more of a problem on the consumer because you can't find what you need because they're out of stock, or for some reason it wasn't ordered, or, you know, it was blocked at the port for some reason. And then prices get jacked up, and, you know, people are scrambling to get what they need. And of course, you know, you can't just go buy what you need anymore because you can't afford what you need. You get exactly what you can afford, and that's it.
Yes. I've cut everything that I can down. I'm still spending about $70 a week at the grocery store, and that's usually like one thing of meat, some
meat,
yeah, either chicken or ham or pork chops or something like that. And
I did buy ham for Thanksgiving, but that was pretty expensive. Ham is really out of proportion to what it should be right now. Cattle, the price for cattle is, you can't actually sell cattle at a good premium because actually we're bringing in cattle from Brazil.
Yes.
So those ranchers are not getting good prices for their beef, but the price at the market is much higher anyway because I guess packaging and the slaughtering and packaging of those products is really gone kind of through the roof. And shipping, of course, has gone up. Our supply chain is really all screwed up. So I don't know. I mean, it's just the economy is teetering on the brink of collapse. And I don't know. I don't see any way out right now.
Here's the one I was looking for before. I can't find the full one.
Does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration, because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign
but
workers.
you also do have to bring in talent. When
Well, we
a
have
country
plenty of talented people
no, you
here.
don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, "I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles," or "I'm going to put."
How did we ever do it before?
Well, let me
When you
just
and I-
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
Does that mean?
Really?
Why does he keep bringing up missiles?
I don't know. Other people had brought that up as well.
That the only thing we make, is that the only industry we have is military industrial complex?
I mean, hey, you know, when in Rome.
Well, yeah, when we watch Nero burn it down. So.
That's a good tacit admission that that's about the only thing America does make anymore is weapons. Yep, phenomenally bad take from our commander-in-chief. Phenomenally bad take. Not the only turd that was in that particular interview. They're spiraling.
Yeah.
So stuff like this is why Mamdani won in New York, by the way, because there hasn't been a concerted effort. You know, some people have made the argument that this is just a messaging issue. Is it? It doesn't feel like that to me. I'm under no illusions. Like, I knew they were going to spin the money printer up, that they had to in order to get things in motion, to right the ship for this country. But it's what they're spending the money on that concerns me. Where has all of this money gone?
We don't know.
All right. I think that's about all I got left in the tank for this one.
Yeah.